this is an opportunity for us to have discussions and an explanation of the chain of events that have occurred in the past couple of weeks, or maybe longer than that. It became necessary to make this statement in the hope to explain a few things. I will take you back to the beginning of the controversy between surrounding the marriage of Mr. Edochie and his wife, May Edochie. Regardless of how the story came to light, once that case was filed in court, once the wife filed a petition in court, that controversy became a legal matter. It became sub judice. It became something before a court of law. Under normal circumstances, people should wait and look up to the court for the outcome and for the resolution of that controversy. But unfortunately, for one reason or the other, we believe that Mr. Edochie took his case to the media, to the social media. And naturally, given the chain of events, his story became a wildfire. The issues involved in his case touched so many people, and people were eager to comment on it, either in response to his own commentaries. But before you knew it, it became the talk of everybody. But one thing has been very clear from the beginning till today. Miss May Edochie has intelligently avoided making media statements. If you look anywhere, you would hardly find where Queen May was discussing her marriage. I recall that it was her concern from the very beginning, and she made effort to request you, Edochie, to keep their matter out of the media spotlight. She had shunned the media, but unfortunately things developed in the manner they developed, fueled by Mr. Edochie's eagerness to explain himself, to seek validation, to somehow rationalize his conduct. This became a media circus. People talk about it, but they're not just talking about it. Their case has become something that many people decided to use as material to grow their social media pages, with the notion that people could monetize their accounts and make money by engagement on their pages. A lot of people decided to spread all manner of stories and falsehood in connection with this case. It is really unfortunate, because I do not think that this could have been the intention of Mr. Edochie when he went to the social media. I believe that he wanted to explain himself. He wanted to rationalize and to minimize the public outrage caused by his conduct, his relationship with Judy. He felt a need to explain it. At the same time, his explanation was offending the sensibilities of many people in society, especially the women population, especially people who are generally opposed either to polygamy or to the manner in which you conducted his affair. So what has happened now is, as many people rush to exploit this story, to use it to stay active, or build up their social media pages. Everybody's talking about it, and lies are being peddled. For us in DPA, we were deeply concerned. We knew that these stories being told were not true. We knew that these stories being told were hurtful to the people involved, particularly to May and her children. I say particularly to May because she is the one that did not want the media attention. She just wanted to grow her businesses, her endorsement projects, her activities, but hardly ever did May speak about her marriage in public. In fact, if ever she spoke in the public, she spoke about the loss of her son, not about the marriage, because she understood that the marriage issue had been presented before the court, and it's up to the court to make a determination. In the ensuing controversies and the tendency to exploit this story, many people have resorted to extreme conduct. By extreme conduct, I'm talking about the disinformation and defamation and bullying that is going on. A lot of people actually don't have conscience. When I mean don't have conscience, I mean that they've lost the capacity to ask the basic question. Who is right? Who is wrong? Who started this? Who is a victim of this controversy? And they have singled out May and her children and child-grown daughter, teenage daughter, for all manner of exploitation. You bully them, you create accounts and claim it's their accounts and use it. So, but one thing you must understand, and this is what makes a difference between May and the other side. May did not have an intention to use the social media to advance her cause. That is, to advance her side of the controversy on the marriage question. She had never tried that. On the other hand, it is you and Judy that felt the need to explain themselves. They felt the need to justify their actions. And in the process, they had to create scenarios that never happened. Starting with the case of Sarah Martins. Somebody paid Sarah Martins to go to Daddy Freeze and lie. And we remember precisely the lies they told. They claimed that May was dating some married man in the United Kingdom, which was absolute fallacy. But why did you think they wanted to paint that picture, that she was dating a married man? They didn't even just say she was dating somebody. They said dating a married man. It was because somebody wanted to make it look good to date a married man. Who do you think wanted to justify, to normalize the dating of a married man? Somebody wanted to normalize adultery. They fabricated that story. They painted the picture that she was not a good wife. They painted the picture that you must have justification for his conduct. All these things ought not have been necessary. They were not necessary. What happened had happened. You had an affair with someone which was pure adultery. You were caught in it. Shut up. Keep quiet. In 2-3 weeks' time, it will fizzle out. Even the case of Balthazar, the Equatorial Guinea man, you knew how popular that story was? 3 months ago, it was everywhere. Today, you hardly hear that story. Nobody of you remember Balthazar anymore. If you, Edochie, had kept quiet, today, nobody will remember what happened 2 years ago. But he has this incredible, insatiable desire to justify himself. In doing so, he has lied. And these lies have been hurtful, and these lies have encouraged people to repeat them. It had to be lies. On the other hand, May, who could have been telling stories, kept quiet. And May's stories would have been very straightforward. She was betrayed by her husband with another woman. It got to the point of having a child out of wedlock. It got to the point of the open humiliation of announcing a polygamy and being proud about polygamy, when in fact you are married under the statute. So if you come out and call you an adulterer, you're not lying. It's a fact. But we shouldn't do so. Nobody should call him anything. Leave him alone. If you ask us what is in our position, if you ask us what we consider the best thing, what we consider the best thing is for people to stay away from these people. Leave them alone. Don't talk about you. Don't talk about me. That would have been an ideal. However, if people start talking, they must at least say the truth. All these allegations against me are false. Completely false. There are stories out of hell. No basis to justify them. Her desire or her entry into the movie industry is a legitimate pursuit of business and interest and career. What is wrong if she goes into the movie industry? And she has been doing it consistently with the rules of the industry. All this fabrication of relationships between her and the AY and all these things are baseless. This is how the movie industry works. Producers of a movie will use a popular actor to market the movie. They'll have clips and events and shows to market the movie. The whole goal is to get public attention to the movie, so they will go and pay and view the movie. It's strictly a business decision conducted strictly in accordance with the rules of the industry. So the stories people are fabricating have no meaning, and these people have no conscience. I say you have no conscience because you have invented an absolutely non-existent scenario and you peddle it against another human being, against a woman who has suffered so much. Now, let me say something about people, some of whom, people you call main nation. It's very important to speak about main nation. First and foremost, you must know that right from the beginning of the controversy between you and Judy, people perceived, controversy between you and me, people naturally perceived me to be the underdog. She was the victim. She was the one cheated. She was the one lied to. Naturally, people who support her, people came en masse to support this woman who has done nothing. Those people are volunteers. They came on their own. May has never paid anybody to speak for her on social media. May has never encouraged anybody to speak for her on social media. So when you hear May Nation, you are talking about individuals who, based on their own assessment of the situation and based on their own assessment of what is fair, decided to speak against the conduct of you and Judy. You cannot blame me for that. So all this idea that May Nation is May, that has no meaning at all. May has no control over May Nation, and there is no organization or an entity known as May Nation. In other words, there is no legal entity called May Nation. May Nation is what people call themselves based on their feelings. Just as the obedience were people who naturally supported P2B. There is no party called Obedient Party. There's no organization called Obedient Organization. But people who identified with P2B's political aspiration were generally described as obedient people, obedient movement. Obi doesn't control them. They have no office. You will never go anywhere and find an office called Obedient Office. Likewise, May Nation were people who came on their own. And in our involvement in this case, we had carefully advised me to understand that she is not responsible for any group. If you support her, she's grateful for your support. But she doesn't control you. She doesn't tell you what to do. And because she doesn't tell you what to do, she cannot tell you what not to do. Because there has been this question of, oh, she should go and talk to her followers, May Nation. It's not possible. I wouldn't even allow her to do so. Because once she begins to tell them what not to do, she becomes responsible for them. Then somebody can say, well, you told them, but you did not tell them loudly enough. Or you did not tell them frequently enough. So she is not responsible for anybody's activity. And I can tell you, without any doubts, that if your defense for attacking May or defaming May is because somebody defamed somebody else, it is not a defense in law. It's not possible. No court in this world will allow you to say that you defamed a person because somebody else defamed somebody else. So there is, what is going on now is something terrible. And I will also tell you something. It is so easy for anybody to claim to be May Nation. An enemy of May can claim to be May Nation because they don't have an office, they don't have registration, you don't have a way of knowing who is May Nation or who is not a May Nation. We saw a man, a young man, who initially, when this controversy started, he began to attack May. Because for him, he's a polygamist. He believed in polygamy. He was writing everywhere for polygamy. But each time he did so, he was criticized by people who were sympathetic with May. So he wasn't getting popular enough. Supporting you against May was not profitable for him. That young man one day rose up and changed and began to criticize May, Yul and Judy. He just switched side. So he became May Nation. Immediately he called himself May Nation. But for us, we don't look at what you call yourself, we look at your activities. We look at the activities of these people. So you got to understand, don't make that mistake, because we can see a high level of ignorance among those who are involved in these controversies. I have heard them argue that May Nation are bullying you, therefore let us bully May. That is the fundamental miscalculation anybody could make. It's not even logical to you, really. So, don't try to hold May responsible for May Nation. First and foremost, we don't know who the May Nation are. We can only see individuals when they act. If a person does the right thing and says he's supporting May, yeah, we take note of that. That's the right thing. He's indeed supporting May. But merely calling yourself May Nation doesn't tell us whether you support us or not. And also, let me tell you something, which is very important. If you go out there and you start fabricating stories against you, or do anything outside the bounds of law against you, you're not acting in the interest of men. First and foremost, if you want to act in the interest of somebody, you have to ask yourself, what does the person want? Absolutely. If you want to say you are acting for May, you have to first of all ask yourself, what does May want? Please, May doesn't want some of those things you think she wanted. May came to our office at the beginning of this case. We analyzed the case. We said, ma'am, your husband committed bigamy. Even if not vigorously enforced, we want to put it on record that he committed bigamy. She asked us what what does that mean? We say, well, bigamy is a criminal offense. Your husband will be invited and probably arrested by the police and investigated. She said, no. We said, why not? She said, no. So, May's interest is not to harm you. May's interest is not to embarrass you. So if you go there and think that if you hit you are pleasing May, that is inconsistent with the instructions we have. She has not, at any point in time, ever told us, go out there, hurt this person. On the contrary, if we move aggressively, she will restrain us. She wants peace. May wants to develop her businesses, her brands, and her career in the entertainment industry, which you all are seeing unfolding. She has exhibited extraordinary intelligence and maturity. She knows that it is not in her interest to get embroiled in unnecessary controversies. Many people are trying to make themselves popular by telling all manner of stories. You see people who will come in and say, oh, polygamy is great, it's our culture. You can say that. That's really not May's argument. May is not out to abolish polygamy. That's not her goal. If you want polygamy, if it's good for you, May wants you to live the way you like. She only made a decision, and that decision is personal decision. She doesn't want to be part of polygamy. She doesn't say that women should not go for polygamy. She doesn't say that men should not go for polygamy. She doesn't say that Igbos and their traditions and polygamy. May is quite more narrow. To tell you the truth, DPA is much broader than May on that, because DPA is against polygamy generally. May is not against polygamy generally. She's only against her own case. She doesn't want to be in this marriage because it is polygamous. She doesn't want to be in a marriage that will involve another woman. The marriage May wanted, the marriage she signed up to, the marriage she agreed to was a marriage of one man, one woman, her and her husband. That is it. May's idea of family, the nuclear family, is her husband, and their children. All these additions and things you are piling up, she says, no, I don't want to be part of it. She has right. Think about it. She has right. She has the right to say, no, I don't want to be part of this. And remember, if you ask me, and if you recall, the statement, the most serious statement May ever made to you and Judy was when she said, God will judge you. That was the only thing negative, you may say, that May ever said to you, and Judy. May has never come out abusing them. That one word or one sentence, God will judge you. She said it in response to her husband, who suddenly and secretly said, I'm a proud polygamist. How will you feel? You're a woman. How will you feel one day you read in social media that your husband is a proud polygamist? How will you feel? All right. How will you feel if you're a parent and you read your son-in-law, the husband of your daughter, saying, I'm a proud polygamist? It was not discussed. It was not mentioned. There was no consultation. There was no attempt to even consider how she felt. And when that happened, all she said was, God will judge you. That was all she said. So now, if you come now and say, Yul is a criminal, Yul is this, Yul is this, you are not representing May. That's not May's position. May has never said those things. May is not interested in demonizing you. May understands that regardless of what happens between her and you, you will remain the father of her children. She understands that very well. And that is why she has always been very reluctant to even let us do things. Even common applications we can file. Even some of the obvious things we can do. May doesn't want us to do that if it is likely to embarrass you. So, how can you think that May is responsible for abuse on you? How can you now tell May to go out there and start telling people, no, don't criticize him. Don't criticize him. Does that make sense to you? That means that she has accepted what he did. So, I'm saying this because we have crossed that point. We've crossed the point of peace. We've crossed the point of peace. I'm not talking of May and you. May maintains her position. It's a principled position. She's not going to change. She doesn't want polygamy, but she doesn't want you dead. She doesn't want polygamy, but she doesn't wish anything bad to you. Indeed, if May had her wishes, she wants you to be doing well so he can pay child support and school fees of children. I'm sure if you go to May now and ask her, what do you want? Do you want you to succeed in his business or to fail in his business? May will say, I want him to succeed in his business. Because May understands that you, if he succeeds, will be in a position to pay school fees of his children. So you got to get these things. If you get angry for what you and Judy did, you are justified. Many people were disappointed. Including us, we are disappointed. But that doesn't mean that we want you dead. That doesn't mean that we want to disgrace you. We have shown principle. May has been principled. We have been principled. You recall when the case of Obasi came up. We refused to represent Obasi. We did not want to represent Obasi while representing May, because Obasi's interests are not the same as May's interest. Indeed, their interests could conflict. And that is because we are looking at these things from the broader perspective of law. Many of you are seeing this as a social media fight. You are looking for content materials, things you would need to have a good content and increase your engagement. That's what many of you are doing. No, that's different from what we're doing. For you, it may be a social media battle. For us, it is a legal controversy, which must be ventilated within the bounds of law. So we refuse to represent Obasi. Otherwise, if we were interested, we would have taken Obasi's case, we would have filed a lawsuit against Judy, we would have tried to force Judy to give Obasi access. We would have, in the case of representing Obasi, we would have opened an inquiry, an investigation into the timing when Judy met you. Whether she was married when she met, whether she was still married to Obasi when she met you. Whether she committed adultery with you. We never went into that. DPA never showed interest in the dates and timing when Judy left Obasi. Because we're not interested in trying to establish whether you committed adultery or not. Whether Judy was still with Obasi when she met you. All these are possible if we were mischievous people, if we were interested in content, if we were just interested in embarrassing you. Very simple. Very simple. What we needed to do is take on Obasi's case, file lawsuits, and drag you into it. In fact, if we want to be mischievous, we'll represent Obasi. And while suing in that representing him, we will drag you in from several angles. We can drag him in from on the notion that he caused the break of the marriage between Obasi and Judy. We can try that. Or we can say, now that she is living with Judy, he is involved in denying Obasi access to his children. We could come in from that angle. But we are not interested in embarrassing you. That was why we refused to represent Obasi. We had the opportunity to represent Obasi. We said no. So you got to understand that what is going on. Okay? So I have touched on many things. Do not think that because somebody calls himself May Nation, that person is working for me. No. On the contrary, we have seen many people who are hostile to me, but who decided to infiltrate that imaginary organization called May Nation. Many have contacted us. Oh, I am from May Nation. I want to help you. I want to do this. They offer us all kind of help. We say no. Some even offered us money. We say no. Because we know that once we accept money from them or go into conversations with them concerning money, they will make it content. They are all looking for content. 90% of people you see there are looking for content. And I want to say something that will interest you too. Many of the people supposedly fighting for Yul and Judy are just content creators. Yul did not hire them. We know those ones that had established direct contact with Judy or Yul, and those who are just out there creating content. We know them. So we have reached a point where we said, listen, a bad thing doesn't end unless you put a fight to it. Can you imagine? Let me explain this to you in a way you will understand. Let us say people created an Appian way behind your window. Instead of taking the proper route to the stream, they are now passing through your window, by your window to go to the stream. If you come out there and shout, hey, hey, don't come, don't use this Appian way, they will keep using that Appian way. But if one morning they come and see you sitting on that Appian way with your machete in your hand, you don't need to talk to them. When they see you sitting there with your machete, they will turn back. So sometimes talking to people will not get it. Because the argument they are spewing, the extreme malevolence, the evil, the vile things they say, even when they are not done attacking me or they are done attacking me, they will start attacking us, the lawyers. We reached a point where we had to act. That was why we acted. We acted in the manner we did last 2 weeks, resulting in the arrest of somebody. The manner in which he was arrested was very dramatic on purpose. Because we want to prove a point. Prove the hypocrisy. All these people talking on social media are creating content. They don't mean what they're saying. They know what they're saying is wrong. We acted. But even when we acted like civilized people. I know the pressure was there to have him detained, get a remand, keep him in prison. The pressure was there. But why would we do that? We are not governed by your content desire. You are looking for content? You want to wake up in one morning and write something? That's what matters to you? No. We are looking beyond that. We didn't want somebody detained in a manner that would violate his rights. We made a point. We succeeded in making that point. And we brought an awareness from law enforcement authorities to start investigation. The investigation is ongoing. We had nothing to gain having him detained. If he is detained and remanded in prison now, what will be my explanation? What will be if my friends call me from Washington, or if I return to my office in Maryland next 2 weeks, and somebody says, why did you keep the guy in detention? What will I tell him? I will tell him, hey, I want to show him. I want to prove to him. What do I have to prove to him? What? We're not that way. We understand the complex human nature that is fueling these problems. A lot of these people attacking me are very poor people, very miserable, idle people. They don't have serious work. We know that. We understand that. So there's nothing to gain having somebody detained. So, but on the other hand, we cannot fold our arms. That is why we have decided now to pursue civil cases against several people. Several people. And guess what? When we sue you, it's not out of bitterness or anger or no. You made a statement which is false. And you are not honorable enough to stop. You are not honorable enough to admit that, oh, I was wrong. You are pushing it. So it's going to cost us effort, little effort, to bring you to court. And they'll ask you the question. Very simple question. Is this woman HIV positive as you said? No, she's not. Why did you say it? Oh, well, they said, some people said. That's a big mistake. So, for those of you who are unsure, who are contemplating where to go, I want you to know there's nothing to benefit in defaming somebody. There's nothing to benefit in defaming Queen May. Particularly Queen May. You know why? Because you cannot find a justification for defaming her. She did not commit adultery. She did not commit bigamy. She did not abuse anybody. She did not abuse you. You will have no reason. So when the court looks at you and asks you very well, we have seen what you wrote. Why did you write it? What will you say? What will you say? That is what you have to do. So, and for those of you who are making content, you can actually make content with good things. After all, there are people who make content with prayer points. They wake up in the morning and pray. After praying, they say, if you support, say amen. 1,000 people will say amen. That is content. That is engagement. You don't have to defame a person to create engagement. All right? And for the avoidance of doubt, I want to re-emphasize, not calling yourself Queen May nation doesn't mean we will lift our gate for you to cross. We're going to look at your actions, and if your action is detrimental to our client's interest, we will not give you a pass. We'll block you. Okay? If you are if you call yourself, because if you are a serious supporter of May, you will not do anything against the May's interest. For instance, you can't begin to attack May's lawyers. May has confidence in her lawyers. If she doesn't have confidence in them, she knows what to do. Just a phone call. She doesn't even need to go far. A phone call, a text message, dear DP, thank you for your services, but henceforth I want you to cease. Pew! No argument. We will surrender our rule. So now, if you call yourself a supporter of May and you are trying to put pressure on May's lawyer so that May's lawyers will begin to do what you like, that's absolute madness. That's stupidity, to say the least. We are not going to do what you like. We are not going to give you the content you want. Indeed, we suspect you. When you pressure us like that, we suspect your motive. The lawyers will say to themselves, watch this guy, watch this guy. He may be calling himself May Nation, but you don't know that we are watching you. You are troublesome. But having said that, I want to emphasize one final thing. There are many people all over the world, especially outside Nigeria, who are very strong supporters of May. We know them. They are consistent. They are not eager. The real great supporters of May don't talk. You don't see them blah, 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 blah on social media. They are subtle. They give their moral support. They cheer her. They cheer her products. That's what you can do. Share her products, support her promotion, buy her goods, watch her movies. That's what support means. If you think you're supporting me by abusing you, oh no. You're actually on your own. You're not part, that's not her sport. Having said that, I'm going to end this session. I haven't given any session for the past 30 days for a number of reasons. Now I have given this. I hope it puts people in perspective. Okay? The people who falsely claim to be May Nation people, they have to understand that they could be detrimental to May's interest, and it's not what you call yourself that matters, it's what you do and how we assess what you do.